Irma, are you here?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Hi, welcome. So
Thank
we've been here and I've explained everything there is to know about the Erasmus Plus Youth Program, and I'm very excited to pass the torch on to you. Um, and SALTO, which is a very beloved partner of ours, and we're very happy for this collaboration. So the floor is yours.
thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm very happy to be here. So today I'm going to talk to Euromed. So this first part will be about SALTO Euromed, and the second part will be about European Solidarity Corps. And if you have any questions, you can also interrupt me, ask them right now or afterwards. No problem at all. We have the 1 hour and a half. We can also stay here a little bit more for 2 hours if you have more questions. If you are here, I suppose that you are interested in either European opportunities or you know a little bit more about European Solidarity Corps. So let's start. I think that I can share my screen. Perfect. Voila. Enough if you just can tell me if the slides change. Sometimes it doesn't do it. So can you see that the slides are changing?
No, actually,
No.
we see like we don't see presentation view. We see like the with the slides on the side.
And what about now?
No.
No.
No, still no. Now, normally you can see that it's changing.
We
No.
can see that they're changing. We can see that they're changing, but it's not in presentation view, but we can still see them. So
Yeah, let's stay like that because in
okay.
presentation view I've tried several
Okay.
times it didn't work. So let's do this. So the first part is about SALTO and especially SALTO Euromed. Then I'll talk about ESC, general informations for youth organizations, and I'll give you our contact. So SALTO, what is SALTO? SALTO means support advanced learning and training opportunities. And the aim of the SALTOs is to improve the quality and the impact of both European programs, which are Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps. When I say European programs, of course, you will have many more, but in this frame, we only work for those two programs because we are founded by European Commission, and then European Commission also founded those two programs, which are Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps. So we try to improve the quality of both programs by providing expertise, some pedagogical tools, information, and learning activities. By learning activities, I mean the information sessions, such as the information session of today, but also some training opportunities. Some of them can be on a residential format, and some of them are also face-to-face. Our target groups are national agencies and other actors that are involved in education, training, and youth work and solidarity. And that also means youth workers, youth organizations. I don't know if you are familiar with the term national agency, but national agencies exist in program countries, and they basically deal with both programs by giving the funds to the organizations that apply for Erasmus Plus, also for European Solidarity Corps. They also give accreditations and the quality labels, and then also they are in charge of monitoring of the programs. So in Israel, for example, there is no national agency because Israel is not a program country, but there is the NEO, National Erasmus Plus Office, which is in charge of promoting Erasmus Plus, and also they do other stuff. But we also have SALTO Euromed, which is a regional SALTO, which is in charge of basically everything that national agencies do within their countries, except from the founding. That means that, for example, if you want to implement European Solidarity Corps, we will not give you the money directly, but we will be in charge of the quality label, which basically is the accreditation, the right that gives you the right to host or to send volunteers. We will also do some monitoring, and we will also make some partnerships possible by organizing some partnership building activities, by giving you the opportunity to take part in trainings, etc., etc. It seems complicated, but it is not. So in terms of saltos, you will have different saltos. You have, maybe I never already told you that in Erasmus Plus, you have two parts actually. In Erasmus Plus, you will have the whole part about the formal education, but the part we are concentrated on is all about youth and sports. So in terms of saltos, we will have some thematical saltos, but also some of them will only concentrate on formal education. Some of them will do a little bit of both. For example, what you see on youth part in blue, they only work for youth organizations and for youth workers. What you see in the red pinky color, they only will work on, they also work on both, on formal education and on non-formal education. And then you will have a salto about inclusion and diversity, and the TCA, education and training, that will only work with, for example, universities, with people who work in formal education part. You also have on a youth part 3 saltos that are regional saltos. You see Eastern Europe and Caucasus, Southeast Europe and Euromed. They are 3 saltos that were created by European Commission in order to promote European opportunities within the neighboring countries. And Israel, for example, is part of a neighboring country, and SALTO Euromed was specifically created for the southern Mediterranean area and also for Israel, because Israel is part of our 10 countries in which we try to develop Erasmus Plus and also European Solidarity Corps. The same goes for Eastern Europe and Caucasus and Southeast Europe. They try to promote those programs in their geographical areas. They try to train their youth workers and do some info sessions, meet with the young people in order to make the implementation of Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps possible. Then you will also have thematical saltos. For example, a salto about inclusion and diversity. We work a lot with this salto because inclusion and diversity are the topics which are very important for us. So, for example, sometimes we will co-organize some events with them, or sometimes we will try to select people for the activities that they will organize within their country or in any program countries. And there is also a salto about training and cooperation, which promotes training opportunities all over Europe and the neighboring countries.
I have a question about this.
Yes.
Are these the different divisions of Salto?
Yes. Well, no. Salto meant, Salto was an acronym to say support advanced learning and training opportunities. So basically, this is the aim of every Salto, to support advanced learning and training opportunities. Then European Commission created a couple of saltos, and within the time they created more and more and more and more. So if you see youth inclusion and diversity, that means that there is a salto which is called SALTO Inclusion and Diversity, which will only work about inclusion and diversity. Then you will have in Finland, for example, digital transformation. This salto will be a thematical salto, and they will only work on digital transformation by providing some pedagogical tools, by providing some trainings and some strategy on how to develop more digitally friendly programs, for example. When you say SALTO Euromed, our main goal is to develop European programs within our geographical area. So everything that you say here, they are separate organisms, they are separate SALTOs within different target groups and different thematics which they work on.
Okay, thank you.
So I work in SALTO Euromed, which is based in Paris. But our target group is not, for example, French youth workers, French young people, etc., because we basically work for those countries that you see on the screen. Our objective is to, as I've told you, to develop European programs within our geographical area, and also to do some monitoring. For example, if after this session you are interested in implementing European Solidarity Corps, you will apply for something that is called quality label, and then we will be in charge of assessing your application form. And once you receive the quality label, we will be the ones who will try to create some partnership opportunities for you, who will train you to become mentors or coordinators within European Solidarity Corps. But we will do also some monitoring in order to guarantee that that your organization meets the quality and the criteria of European Solidarity Corps. So our target group mainly are NGOs, organizations from non-formal education field, youth workers, of course, and the youth, but also youth only through ESC, because when you host volunteers in ESC, some of the trainings are mandatory, and this is our mandate to organize some trainings for young people which take part in European Solidarity Corps. But rather than that, we mostly work with organizations directly who then support youth by hosting them, sending them, or making some opportunities for them. So this is very briefly. Maybe.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Right. Are there any specific fields that you work in more directly when talking about youth organizations? Are there any specialties?
This is a very good question, and the answer is no. Any youth worker is more than welcome to become part of the European Solidarity Corps. We will talk about 4 criteria that European Solidarity Corps has, but that doesn't mean that we will only focus on those 4 criteria. We can work with youth workers in educational, or of course, non-formal education. Sometimes some volunteers can be also hosted in schools, but they should not be teachers. You know what I mean? They can be engaged in a formal education in a non-formal way. Sometimes we will work with youth workers who work on an environmental issues, on women's rights, on the democracy, etc., etc. The topics are super large, and it is up to the organizations and up to the youth workers to prove that even though they work in different areas, they want to take part in European programs by hosting or sending volunteers. So the answer is no, but we have 4 criteria which are defined in the guide of both programs, both of Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps. But those criteria are basically a tool to promote those 4 elements in every program that the organization will implement, but they can work on culture, cinema, theater, education, etc., etc. Any other questions? I think no. So a small topic that I didn't mention, but it is very important. So SALTO Euromed, we create training opportunities, but we also make a selection for the training opportunities that are happening. I will show you a website, which is salto.youth. I think it was salto.youth. And whenever you create a profile on this website, if you are a youth worker, you will find a lot of training opportunities for you. And some of those opportunities are organized by us in our geographical area, but mostly they are organized by our partners, which are other national agencies or other SALTOs. And for example, if there is a training about mentorship organized in Berlin, it will be organized by the German NA. But if it is open to our countries, SALTO Euromed will be the one who will make the pre-selection, and we will support you with visa and plane tickets, and then the rest of the fees will be funded by the organizers. So that means that not only we organize the training opportunities within our geographical area, but whenever some other trainings are happening in Europe or in other partner countries, we also make a pre-selection for our participants. And by our participants, I mean youth workers coming from those countries that you see on the screen. Let's talk about ESC now. Here is a video, but I won't show it because this is not the latest version. So the general framework of the European Solidarity Corps. The program offers an opportunity for young people between ages 18 and 30 to make a meaningful contribution to society. So basically, this is open to all young people coming from either program countries or neighboring countries, which I will talk about a little bit more and explain what does that mean. And the age gap is from 18 to 30. So from the first day of your 18, you can already take part in European Solidarity Corps until you are 30. You can also apply for volunteering opportunities when you're 30. You can start your project at 30 and then have your 31st birthday within this program. So the idea is to promote volunteering opportunities and to make a meaningful contribution to society. The volunteers also can gain a valuable experience to develop new skills. By skills, I mean especially soft skills. And the program also addresses organizations looking to involve youth in the solidarity activities. What does that mean? That the target group of the program, the program has two target groups. The first, it's youth, each young person from 18 to 30. But the second target group is organizations, youth workers who want to engage in those programs, because by engaging in this program, they also gain some new skills in coordinating international projects, in supporting volunteers, in becoming the mentors, etc., etc. Volunteering is a full-time experience, and this is an unpaid activity. But by unpaid activity, I mean the fact that everything is funded by the European Commission, but the volunteers do not receive a salary. They do not have the same status as employees. They are called volunteers. They get pocket money, their visa fees are covered. They also get the language classes, and the apartments and the flats are taken care of by the hosting organization. So basically, this is free to access, and this is very important. The volunteers should never pay to engage in European Solidarity Corps, but they will not become rich, basically. They will have enough in order to survive, in order to engage in the local community, but they will not receive a real salary. So most of the projects, they answer societal challenges. They give young people an opportunity to learn and train themselves. And regarding your questions, if we work with all youth workers or with all thematics, those are the thematics. Some of them, actually, those are only examples, which can be education, health, youth, sport, integration and support to migrants and refugees, protection of nature, etc., etc. Basically, any thematic on which any youth worker works can be a core of the project if they want to host or send volunteers. So this is very quickly, but we will also dig into deeply into details on how you can implement the project, what does that mean for volunteers, and what does that mean for organizations. But before that, let's talk about the priorities of the program. As maybe Einav has told you, we have the same priorities in European Solidarity Corps as in Erasmus Plus. The first priority of the program is inclusion and diversity. The second one is environmental protection. The third one is digital transformation. And the fourth one is participation in democratic life. Earlier, I talked about SALTOs and how many of SALTOs are there in program countries. So when you see those four priorities on the screen, that also means that the EU Commission has created each SALTO about these priorities. For example, if you work on inclusion and diversity, especially, you can Google SALTO inclusion and diversity, go to their website and check out what are the opportunities and pedagogical tools that they may offer. The same goes for digital transformation, environmental protection, and the participation in democratic life. Voila. Let's now talk about the terms that I've mentioned, which were program and partner countries. So now here you see the map. On this map, I've put three colors, and what you see in purple, they are non-EU countries that are still considered as program countries. Most of the program countries are EU countries, but some of them can be also non-EU countries that have become program countries. And basically that would mean technically that they will all the European programs will work the same way for them as it works for the EU, for the organizations that are based in EU countries. That, by the way, you see in green. And what you see, the big blue on this map, they are partner countries. You are also considered as a partner country. And for those partner countries, they are divided in three geographical areas that I have already mentioned. And you are the part of the Southern Mediterranean area, as you already know. And for the Southern Mediterranean area, the Commission has created SALTO Euromed, in which I work. So what did I forget? No, I think I covered everything. Do you have some questions about the difference of program countries and partner countries? Maybe yes. I would have a question if I were you. The first one would be, what is the difference? So the difference basically is that in program countries, you will have national agencies. In partner countries, you will have regional SALTOs. If you come from the partner country and you want, for example, to implement European Solidarity Corps, you will not have the same steps as if you were an youth worker based in the program country. If you want to, for example, implement European Solidarity Corps, you cannot access the funds directly. You will need a partner which will be based in program countries, which will apply for the funds. But you can still write the projects together and collaborate together. It is all about the teamwork, but it will be the organizations in the program countries that will receive the funds, and then you can work with them together to implement the project, to send or host volunteers. But you can have the quality label, but you cannot apply for the funds directly. In order to receive funds, you need a partner. in a program country that will apply for the funds, and then you will make the project possible. Was this clear, or do you have questions about this technical detail? I cannot see you, but I can hear you, so one yes is enough.
I explained that also in my presentation before.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, in European Solidarity Corps, you will have two types of volunteering. You will have individual volunteering and volunteering in groups. Let's start with individual volunteering. This is the slide that is updated, but each year the EU Commission makes a new program guide, and there are always slight changes. So if you want to implement Erasmus Plus or European Solidarity Corps, the general advice would be to consult the program guide every year, because there are slight changes every year. So in terms of individual volunteering, this is something that can last from 2 weeks up to 12 months. This is a full-time activity between 30 hours and 38 hours a week that allows young people to contribute to the daily work of the organization that is actively benefiting the local community. What does that mean? That means that if an organization doesn't work with youth at all and works on environmental changes, they can still host young people. They will be allowed to do it. And then the young people will help them make the change on a local way. It is usually cross-border activity. That means that people from different countries meet with each other, and they can travel and they can learn more about another culture, etc. I said usually because within the program countries, they can do the ESC in their countries, but this is not possible for the program countries. And for example, the partner countries, this is only cross-border. That means that young people from Israel, they can participate in ESC by traveling to another country, which will be a program country. So this is about individual volunteering, and then you have volunteering in groups. Volunteering in groups can last between 2 weeks and 2 months. So this is a shorter project, but this is also a full-time activity. And within the voluntary groups, you need to occupy volunteers between 30 and 38 hours per week. And the group of volunteers, they usually come from at least 2 different countries, but the group can consist of 3 different countries. For example, you can have 3 different groups from 3 different countries. In this group, you should have at least 5 volunteers, and there is no limited number of volunteers that you can host within volunteering in groups. It's usually abroad, although it can be in your home country, but it doesn't apply to the partner countries. So that means that youth from Israel, they can only travel in order to participate in volunteering in groups. And the majority of participants should come from the sending country. That means that if you want to host 5 volunteers, you should have at least 4 volunteers from your own country. So basically, the difference between individual and volunteering in groups is the duration of the project, because volunteering in groups applies to more specific areas, maybe something very specific. And I don't know, you want to organize an event and you need the groups, or there is some big event on about cleaning the beaches or something like that, and you need a big group in order to organize this event, and you will invite volunteers from different countries, and you will make an international group of volunteers that will help you out with specific objectives. While individual volunteering can last up to 12 months, and sometimes you won't have the specific objectives. Sometimes you will have different tasks for one volunteer, and this volunteer will stay with you for the longer period of time. It will give him or her the opportunity to maybe learn the language, and also being active in different areas of your organization. You can have several individual volunteering opportunities. For example, if you are an organization who works on, I know, women's rights and environment, you can have two long-term volunteers in both areas. They will have different tasks, but they will both have their own projects. But in volunteering in groups, everybody kind of has the same project, which is specific, which is short term, but this is more about intercultural change, and this is a shorter project. But for both volunteering opportunities, the rules are the same. They need to be engaged between 30 and 38 hours. The age criteria is the same. The fact that they need the mentors, it is the same, but the tasks are different, and the duration is different.
Irma, can I ask, what does it mean the majority of participants should come from the sending country?
So if you have a group of 10 volunteers for the volunteering in groups, that would mean that at least 6 should come from, imagine that is a project between Israel and France. If you want to implement this project, you will have some local volunteers, local young people from 18 to 30, and you will need some volunteers from the program country, let's say France. In that case, you will need to host at least 6 French young people, and you will have 4 youngsters from Israel. That will make a group of 10 within, and the majority will come from the sending country. Because volunteering in groups is all about groups and about the exchange, cultural exchange. So you will need people from different countries, and the majority should come from Europe, in your case, or from program countries, because you can only collaborate within the program countries.
And the 4 from Israel, they are also in ESC, so they also get all the privileges of volunteers, even though
they are also volunteers, but this is a good question. Let me double check. I'm not sure about I don't think that they will get the fees.
Okay.
But let me come back to you with this.
And also Sarah asked on the chat,
Yeah.
can you explain again the status of Israel according to the slide with the colors? Thank you, Sarah.
Yes, of course. The status of Israel is a partner country. That means that you can participate in Erasmus Plus program and in European Solidarity Corps in order to participate in European Solidarity Corps. And when I say participate in European Solidarity Corps, I mean being able to host or send volunteers. And if you want to do that, you will need the quality label. You will apply for the quality label, which is basically another term for an accreditation. When you apply for the quality label, SALTO Euromed, that I represent today, will assess your quality label application form. Then you will have the right to host or send volunteers. Once you have this, you will need a partner in program countries. So we will try to facilitate the process, or you can maybe already have some partners in program countries. In program countries, the partner that you will have needs also to have the quality label, but another type of quality label. Your quality label is called partner quality label, and your partner needs to have a quality label lead that will allow them receive the funds directly in order to implement the project. So your partner will apply for the quality label lead, or maybe they will already have the quality label lead, and that means that they will have a budget to implement the project. And then you will make an agreement within your partner in order to start the project. By starting the project, I mean send or host volunteer.
So it's
Do you have
application of projects like in Erasmus that they need to apply for a
This is the
project,
same. Yes, yes.
and only the program country, the EU country, can apply
Yes,
and
yes.
be the lead.
Exactly. Only the program countries can apply for the funds, but you can apply for the quality label that gives you the right afterwards to host or send volunteers. But the money will be received by the organizations that are based in program countries that have quality label lead. That means this is something that allows them to receive money from their national agencies. So basically you have European Commission who funded both projects and who has all the budget. Then the budget is distributed to the national agencies. In each national agencies, my colleagues receive the applications from the organizations that want to have the lead quality label. But in SALTO Euromed, we receive the application forms from the youth workers that want to have the partner quality label that will allow them to make partnership with the organizations in program countries. And then they can make an agreement directly with the organizations who have the lead quality label. That means who can apply for fundings.
Thank you.
Is there maybe a list that we can use to know who are these organizations in the European Union?
Yes, I will send you the link.
Thank you so much. That would be great.
So I will send you the link of all the organizations. Well, actually, I will send it to Einav because I do not have all the emails. So maybe you can help me out with
Einav will forward it to us. We trust
Yeah.
Einav. So
Good.
these organizations, they work with SALTO?
So the ones that have quality label, lead quality label.
The ones that you said you approve their requests.
All right. So those organizations work with SALTO, but not in the project management aspect. They will apply for the quality label / accreditation. We will say yes or no. If, let's say, we say yes and we give the quality label, then our role as a SALTO Euromed will be to support them, to organize some trainings, to facilitate new partnership opportunities, and to monitor them and to train their volunteers. So in terms of working with SALTO, yes, because we train their volunteers, we train them, and we monitor them. But the most important part in project management will be between the organizations. So, for example, if your organization applies for the quality label, we will assess your application, you will get it, hopefully, and then you will directly work with an organization in one of the program countries in order to make an exchange. And you will directly work with the organization. You will not work with SALTO in project management because this is not our job. We have more an institutional role, but in terms of project management, you will directly work with one of the organizations in program countries. Good.
So this is for projects that don't require funding like in Erasmus. It's the only funding that is required is for like apartment, visas, that kind of stuff. That's what SALTO gives the volunteers.
Yes. So the project requires funding. You will not get the funding directly by the SALTO, because this is not our role, but you need to get some of the funding from your partner. Because the way it works is that you cannot apply for the money, but you can still have a partnership, and your partner will apply for the funding, and they will get the funding. And then you make the agreement with your partner in order to receive some funding. And I will go in details about what does that mean. There are different kinds. Maybe we can talk about it directly because you asked. So, for example, on that slide, I have something more specific. I can send it, budget. I will send them a document that we have created about the budget, which is more specific, but you will get a general idea with this slide. So for the project, you will have some costs that are funded by the program. It will be travel costs so because volunteers need to buy a travel ticket, so this is funded by the program. Organizational support, pocket money that volunteers need to receive, some inclusion support, for example, if you have volunteers with fewer opportunities that require more support, and language learning support. Those are the basic costs that are funded by the Commission. And when I say Commission, I also mean national agencies, because if you have a partner in France, once again, they will apply for the funding, and the French NA will be in charge of giving them this funding. And in the project, your partner, your French partner, will apply for what you see on the slide: travel costs, organizational support, pocket money, etc., etc., and then they will receive the funding.
I was asked if we will share the presentation afterwards.
Of course.
Possible? Yes.
I will share the presentation. I will share the link when you can find all the organizations that already have the quality label. I will share a video about the quality label because it can be also useful, and the document about the budget.
I have another question. There's a quality label also for youth exchange, right?
There is no quality label for the youth exchange. Actually, it is way easier to participate in youth exchange than in European Solidarity Corps.
Okay.
Because the way Erasmus Plus works is the logic is the same regarding partner countries and program countries, distribution of the funds, etc. But there is no equivalent of quality label. So, for example, at least for partner countries, so an Israeli organization can have a partner and engage in youth exchanges without having any quality label. So you do not need a quality label in order to implement youth exchanges.
Okay, great. Thanks.
If you want, I can also send something about youth exchanges. A small video. Will you be interested?
Yes, that would be great.
Good. By the way, we will also make some info sessions, not right now, but in 2025, about specific opportunities on E+, especially youth exchanges, because this is a topic which is quite important for youth workers. So if you are interested, we can also maybe in the beginning of 2025 do a common info session about Erasmus Plus and opportunities that are offered only for the partner countries. And we will talk a little bit more about youth exchanges and KA1, KA2.
That's great.
Good. So let's talk about ESC now. So this was the map about program countries and the types of the volunteering. So how does that work for organizations, and how does that work for young people? So for the organizations, as I have explained, first thing first, you need a quality label. Then you need the idea of the project. then you need a partner, then you need your partner to receive the funds. Once it's done, you need to make an agreement, partnership agreement with them, and then you can start sending or hosting volunteers. So those are the steps, basic steps. So in your case, I didn't mention the most important one, which is take part into the training course, because now we will talk about ESC, but it's too much for 1 hour session. You will still have more questions. You will still need to a little bit more about the quality label, etc. We offer training opportunities, and we will organize a 2 days online training about European Solidarity Corps for Israeli organizations. It will most probably be in November, but I'm still waiting for the confirmation of the dates. So if you are interested, normally you all have my email. You can contact me, or once the call is published and the dates are confirmed, I can also share the link to Einat, and she will share the link to you. We will have 20 places for this training. So if you have more questions about ESC, and if you want to apply for the quality label, I would strongly encourage you to register for this training opportunity, and only afterwards it would be logical to apply for the quality label, because it is not a very easy process. It takes time, and it's always better to inform yourself, to train yourself before applying for the quality label. So once this is done, you apply for the quality label, we assess your application form, then you look for the partner, then you get some foundings, and only after that you start the project. You can, for example, write the project with your partner, and this can be about sending or hosting volunteers. If you are interested in hosting volunteers, but only in hosting volunteers, you can only apply for the hosting role. If you want to only send, you can apply for the supporting role. So I told you that we have two different opportunities. We will have individual volunteering, and we will have volunteering in groups. But there are two types of quality labels when it comes to partner countries. That means that you, as a youth organization, can host volunteers, you can send volunteers, you can do the both. Whenever you decide to apply for the quality label / accreditation, you first you need to reflect on what are your needs, what do you want to do within European Solidarity Corps. Maybe you are interested in European Solidarity Corps, but you do not have any organizational capacity, or you are a little bit afraid, or you do not want to host right now directly, and you can do it step by step. That means that you can first apply for supporting role. Supporting role allows you to only send volunteers. And in that case, you will write the application form, you will apply for the partner quality label, and within this partner quality label, you will apply for one role that will give you the right to send volunteers. And this role is called supporting role in the quality label. But if you want to send but also host volunteers, in that case, you will apply for both roles. You will still have to apply for quality label partner role, but in the application form, you will have some questions. Do you want to host volunteers, or do you want to send volunteers? You can directly apply for both, but you can start by sending, by applying only for supporting role. Do you have any questions regarding that? Yeah.
Can you also only host, or if you're
Of course. It doesn't happen a lot, because the most logical way is to start slow and to start maybe by sending, and then you learn a little bit more about how program works, what are the criteria, etc. And usually afterwards you host. But if you only want to host, you can try and you can apply, and then if sometimes applications are very good and we see that there is an organizational capacity, and sometimes we can directly give this role to the organizations.
And do you have to have a partner already, or you can
No.
apply? Okay.
This is a very good question. Technically, you will need to have a partner, because if you don't have a partner, nothing is possible. But it is, in terms of inclusivity, we cannot ask for organizations for directly having a partner, because this is also one of our mandates and one of our roles as a SALTO Euromed, to create some new partnership opportunities. So we cannot ask for the organizations to already have partners and everything that is ready in order to receive funds, because this is not fair. Any other questions about the hosting and supporting role?
Yes, if we're a nonprofit that actually requires volunteers, would our partner would be like another nonprofit that has volunteers and we would like exchange them? Or is it like a human resource company?
It is a very good question. The general advice that we give in terms of finding partners is to find partners in program countries within the same target groups, or the organizations that work on the same thematic, so you can make the so your projects would make sense. For example, if you are an organization who works with women, it's always interesting to have an organization who has the same target groups, so you can work on something similar. So it would be interesting for you as well. Regarding the HR companies, those are not the target groups, because mostly those are the solidarity actions. Volunteering project is all about the social change, all about solidarity, all about improving the local community. So most of the organizations that apply for the quality label in partner or program countries, they all work on societal issues. We do not have any banks, although technically it is possible, but usually people who apply for the quality label work for the societal changes.
Of course, what I meant is I wanted to ask, where do the other organization gets volunteers? Like, is it the target group they're directly working with, or are there their own workers?
So let's talk about young people in that case, and you will understand more. So if I was somebody from 18 to 30 and I wanted to engage in European Solidarity Corps, that would mean that as a young person, I would create a profile on the portal on which all the organizations publish their offers. And then I would apply by regarding on my interest, the topic, the country I want to live for some period of time, and then I would apply directly on this website, and then somebody from the hosting or sending organization would call me, and I would get the interview. And after this interview, I would get the contract within the hosting organization. So that means that, yes, you mentioned an HR, but as this is not employee-based program, you do not really need the HR department to host or send volunteers. Just a small group of youth workers would be enough, who will assess the applications, who will organize the interviews with the volunteers, and then they will test the motivation of volunteers, and then the volunteers get accepted or not. And if they get accepted, then the supporting organization has a role to send the volunteers, and the hosting organization has a role to host volunteers.
Okay, great.
This was your question, right?
Yeah.
Good. So, the key actors, institutionally speaking, there are national agencies and there are regional SALTOs. Maybe some of you would like to clarify what's the difference between national agencies and regional SALTOs, so I could understand that everything that I told was clear. If not, I can re-explain it. Kubadi. All right, I will re-explain it. National agencies are based in program countries, and they are in charge of assessing quality labels, organizing the trainings, and they are in charge of distributing grants. But regional SALTOs do the same thing, but they do not distribute the grants. So you as a partner country, you will have a regional SALTO, and your partner in program country, they will have a national agency. So regarding the project cycle, as we've already talked about it, so the first step, actually in your case, the first step, it would be to register on a training and have the training in order to improve already the quality, your application of the quality label. But I didn't put it on this slide because technically you can directly obtain a quality label without any training. It is just an advice. So the first step would be to obtain a quality label. Then you will need to find partners with a quality label lead. That would mean a partner in a program country. Then you would develop the ESC volunteering project application. Then you can publish your offer on the website that I have mentioned, and you will get some applications, CVs, etc., and then you will have some interviews. And with your partner, you will select the future volunteers. Once you have your volunteers, you as a sending organization, supporting organization, you will send volunteers towards your partner, which will be the hosting organization. Or if you are a hosting organization, the supporting organization will send you the volunteers and you will host them. So those are the basic steps
Irma,
of.
does the project
Yep.
have a timeline? I mean,
Yes. Yes. So the quality label that you need to apply for doesn't have. There is no deadline. Actually, the website has some technical maintenance from from the beginning of November until the end of the year. So in November, December, this website doesn't work. But other than that, there are no deadlines. Only to apply for the quality label. And the Israeli organizations, the first step, they need to apply for the quality label. So no deadlines. You need to do it until the end of October. But when you apply with your partner for the funds, there are, as for Erasmus Plus, 2 deadlines. I do not have them in mind, but yeah, I don't want to say something that is not true, but there are 2 deadlines within the year. So, but the first thing is to obtain the quality label, because you cannot apply for the funds if you do not have the quality label yet. So the first thing for Israeli organizations is to apply for the quality labels. And once you have it, then with your partner, you will have 2 deadlines. Pauline, do you remember deadlines?
actually, my question,
October and February, something like that, but I don't remember.
actually, my question was about the projects. Do they have like time for implementation, 2, 3 years?
No.
No,
No.
it's
No. The application process is, merci Pauline. The application process is the similar as for Erasmus Plus. So you get 2 deadlines per year, but you do not have any deadlines to start the project in September or January, etc. It really all about everything about European Solidarity Corps is based on needs of the local community. So if you need to start it in December, you will start it in December.
no, but when I get the grant, do
Yeah.
I have a time to implement it, or I can implement it like do I need to finish all the mobilities with not mobilities, all the volunteering within 2 or 3 years or not? It doesn't matter how long it takes.
Yeah, the specifics about the quality label and the funding is that once, for example, your partner gets the lead quality label and gets the funds, they will have until the end of the project to implement it. That will
Exactly.
mean, yeah, until the 2027.
The project of ESC.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, they can get multiple funds. And for example, regarding the Israeli organizations, technically they can get the quality label and never use it.
No, I meant they have a
Yeah,
quality label.
I understood what I meant. Yeah.
Does it have, for example, in mobility or ICM or youth exchange, you have 2 years or 3 years to implement the mobilities. So in Solidarity Corps, it's not like that?
If they apply for the 2 year cycle, yes.
Mm.
It will depend on the project that they will write.
Okay, I understand.
Perfect. So, and as an Israeli organization, you will also need to be in constant communication with SALTO Euromed, particularly when it comes to training opportunities for the volunteers, because some of them are mandatory, and we are in charge of organizing the trainings. But you, as a hosting organization, for example, will be in charge of registering your volunteers. So we will need to have some information about how many volunteers do you have. Do they need to be trained, etc., etc. So we have already talked briefly about this. Now let's talk about the tasks and responsibilities per each role. So as a supporting organization, you will have different tasks in different 3 phases of the project cycle. For the volunteer, there is before, during, and after the activity. The same goes when the organizations are hosting volunteers. So there is 3 parts: before, during, and after the activity. As a supporting organization, you will have a specific role before the activity takes place. So you, as a supporting organization, you will help your partner, who will afterwards host volunteer, in the selection and preparation process. So that means that once the offer is published, you will within your host organization, you will select and match the registered candidates in the European Solidarity Corps portal, and you will have some sort of pre-selection process. You will ensure that the volunteers signs an agreement which includes a learning and training component. That means that, as this is a project about inclusivity, and young people with fewer opportunities are more than welcome in the project, but even if it comes to volunteers with the diplomas and with competencies, they still need to learn more, at least the new language, or some cultural codes, or how do they approach a specific target group. So within the European Solidarity Corps, you, as a supporting organization, need to be sure that when you will send volunteers, once they arrive in their host country, in their hosting organization, they will have training and learning opportunities. You need to provide an adequate preparation for the volunteers. That means that mostly you will select volunteers with your partner. And once the volunteers are selected, you start the selection and preparation by providing some support, and by also organizing some pre-departure trainings. And those pre-departure trainings can be on, I don't know, discovering the new culture. What does volunteering mean? What are my rights as a future ESC volunteer? What should I need to do? What are the musts, and what are the things that I need to avoid in the new culture, etc., etc. And you will ensure that the volunteers that you might send, they need to receive the European Solidarity Corps info kit. Usually this is a document that is done by the hosting organization, in which the future volunteers will find informations about their project, about the country, about the conditions of living, etc., etc. So all the information about the project and about the daily activities must be written in this info kit. And you, as a supporting organization, you must ensure that the volunteers are well informed before their departure. During the activity, actually, the most of the tasks are within the responsibility of the hosting organization. But you still need to keep in touch with volunteers. You still need to be sure that they are alive, that they get their pocket money, that they learn something, and basically they are happy. And sometimes they are less happy, and then that's when the problems appear. In case of problems, you also have a role of the mediation, and you also need to try to help them out in resolving some issues that they might have with their hosting organization or with their country of hosting country, or sometimes even with themselves. So this mediator role is something that you might do as a supporting organization when things are not that perfect when they start the volunteering project. And then you will have the role of making sure that once volunteer comes back to their home country, they reintegrate well, because the cultural shock can work in both ways. Once we discover something that we do not know, but then once we discover something that we knew, but we didn't think about it in a whole different way. So the reintegration process can take some time for some volunteers. So you will be there to provide support to volunteers that are back to their home countries. You will ensure that their participation in the daily life will also take place. Sometimes you can also offer them some volunteering opportunities within your organization, so they can also feel useful once they come back. And you need to provide the guidance regarding the future education. You can also give them some advices on how to improve their CVs, how to use the experience that they have just gotten within the European Solidarity Corps in their future adventures. So basically, those are your roles. Before the departure, you will need to pre-select the volunteers, prepare them by providing pre-departure trainings, so give them some administrative support for their visas, etc. During the activity, basically, you are the mediator, but you also keep in touch with the organization and the volunteer. And after the activity, the reintegration process is basically your main role. Some questions about this, or should I talk about the roles of hosting organization? I think I can go on. So now, if you wanted to host volunteers, it's the same. There are 3 phases. You have before, during, and after. There is no after on that slide because the after is more the role of the supporting organization. But as a hosting organization, you will have a huge part during the activity, but also some part before the activity. So before the activity, in collaboration with a supporting organization, you will select the volunteers. This collaboration is super important because on the portal, on the youth portal, actually, young people can directly apply for the hosting opportunities, and they can sometimes directly get selected without the supporting organization. And then they will need to at least have the supporting organization. And okay, let's take a practical example. If I come from Israel and I want to participate in a project in Germany, I go to the youth portal, I create my profile, and I directly apply to the project that takes place in Germany. And I actually get selected because my host organization really liked who I am, my motivations. I am super nice and super motivated, so I get selected. what do I need to do now? I need to look for the supporting organization. So I will go to the website, which I will share with you. And I will have a list of all organizations in Israel that have quality label. So then I will go to the organizations and tell them, hey, I got selected in Germany. I need you to send me. And this is where your role as a supporting organization is extremely important. You actually get to say no or yes to the volunteer. You can, even though they were pre-selected or accepted by their hosting organization, you as a supporting organization can also make another pre-selection process, another interview, and make sure that the youngster meets the criteria of the project that was published on the youth portal. So basically, there are two ways for you as an organization. In the perfect scenario that I have described on that slide, you get to develop the ESC volunteering project application with your partner. But sometimes it doesn't happen like this. Sometimes a German organization directly applies for the project without knowing that they will work with Israeli organizations. They will apply for the project, they will have the general idea of the project, how many volunteers they want to send or host, and then they will get the money. So in that case, they will make the publication, the offer on the web portal, and they can, people from all over the partner or program countries will directly apply to them. In that case, sometimes volunteer gets selected and then they come to you with a project already. So in that case, you will need to contact the hosting organization. If you are a sending organization, you will need to contact the hosting organization and you say, hey, your future volunteer contacted me. Can we make the pre-selection together, and can we add the extra steps? And you can also have the interviews. And if you feel like it, and if you feel that the volunteer has enough motivation and is suitable for the project, in that case, you make the partnership with the hosting organization. So there are two ways to make the partnerships. The first one is the ideal one, when you get to participate in creating the project, etc. And the second one is when the volunteers come to you with the project and you say yes or no to the volunteers. But if you say yes, not only you say yes to the volunteers, but you say yes to the new partnership opportunity. Now that I'm talking, I can feel that it might be confusing. So please let me know if I confused you.
For me, it was clear.
All right. Do you have some questions? If not, let's go on. So as a hosting organization, as I've mentioned, you will have two different steps: before the activity and during the activity. Before the activity, in collaboration with the supporting organization, and this once again in the ideal scenario when you will have already a partner, you will select volunteers, all right? And then you will provide an info pack, and in the ideal world, you will also include your partner in making the info pack, and you will send the info pack to your partner, which is the supporting organization, but you will send it also to the volunteers that are selected. So when you send the info pack to the organizations, why this is important? Because they can also actively help you out in making the right choices and in making the right pre-selection process of the volunteers. And your partner, which will be the supporting organizations, will have all the information about the daily and the technical details of the project. So the info pack is very important, and the collaboration within the supporting organization is super, super important. During the activity, this is where the magic happens. Your role will be to support the learning process of for the volunteers, and you can do this in in different ways. You can provide learning opportunities by organizing some trainings about, let's say you are an organization who helps out kids and who does all the activities with the kids by providing some camps or some after school activities, some games, etc., etc. And you are looking for volunteers. In that case, you can help them learn by doing two things. The first will be by providing the trainings about how can future volunteers conduct with kids. It can be about how future volunteers can provide new ideas with this specific target group. It can be the trainings about the language of your country. It can be trainings about some intercultural aspect. It can be training about how to make a project with the kids. So those are the technical trainings, okay? And if you provide them, the volunteers will also learn new things. But there is also the whole new aspect about soft skills, about the cultural aspect, about the new country that your volunteers will discover. So in that case, you will need to assign a very nice person per volunteer that will be their mentor. The mentors are people who basically can be already your employees or some volunteers within your country that know very, very well the context of the country, where the markets are, where the pharmacies are, where the good restaurants are, what to avoid, what to do, what can volunteers do in order to make the integration process as fluid as possible. So a mentor can also be a shoulder to cry on when things go wrong, when the volunteers meet their parents, etc. So basically, the mentor guarantees the daily well-being of the volunteers. And within the organization, it's always good to have a mentor per volunteer, but also a project coordinator. And then I will talk about the difference after that. But this is all I wanted to say by learning and mentoring opportunities, because you will have a formal way to support volunteers in their development, but you will also have an informal way, and this will be the job of the mentors, right? There will be some people who will help volunteers in their integration by talking to them in Hebrew, for example, by showing them the nearest supermarkets, by talking to them in a non-formal way, and by introducing them maybe to other people, etc., etc. And as a hosting organization, you will need to also not only provide learning and mentoring opportunities, but you will also need to provide some activities, right? Project-related activities. So it will be your role as a hosting organization to ensure that the volunteers that you will host will have enough things to do during the week. You should make sure that learning opportunities are part of the volunteering project, but besides the learning opportunities, they need to feel useful, and so it will be up to you to organize their daily life, their activities, to provide the suitable accommodation for them, to guarantee that they will have the healthy meals, and to provide the due allowance, which is the pocket money for which you will apply within your partner. So that's basically it. Guarantee that they will have enough activities, guarantee that they will have good living conditions, give them the pocket money and monthly allowance, and provide them with mentors. Now, those are the example of ESC projects. One of the first questions was, do we work with all thematics or not? The answer is yes. And those are some examples of ESC projects to give you the basic idea, actually, of what volunteers can do. They can do some projects related to arts and culture by organizing community art projects, for example. It can be about the cultural heritage. It can be about urban development. It can be about digital literacy. It can be about environmental protection. But it can also be about some other topics that you work on. Those are just the basic examples of topics on which you can work with your volunteers. Now let's talk about support for volunteers. I briefly mentioned that as a hosting organization, you will need basically to have a mentor, but you will also need to have the project coordinator. The mentor, I already described his or her role, so I won't talk about it a lot more, but this is all about emotional support, support on soft skills, support on daily life of the volunteers. But the project coordinator is somebody who guarantees that the implementation of tasks is done in correct conditions for volunteers. They guarantee the implementation of tasks by the volunteers. The project coordinator usually is a member of the organization where the project takes place. The project coordinator guarantees that the tasks for the volunteers are distributed and they make a schedule for the volunteers, and they also keep in touch with the mentors of the volunteers to guarantee that what the volunteers do in their daily activities, they are in line with everything that they do in their daily life, and that in the end of the project, not only the volunteers will feel useful, but they will also have new skills that will help them out for their future life. The main reason, one of actually the main reasons why the program asks us for this division by providing the mentors and the project coordinators is that imagine that there is a conflict and the volunteer doesn't feel happy with their project coordinator or with their hosting organization. They will still at least have one person who will help them out with resolving this issue. It's always better to separate those both things, purely work and project related, and something that will be related on with a cultural aspect of their daily life within their hosting country. So it's always better to have a mentor, but also have a project coordinator per volunteer. So regarding the trainings for ESC volunteers, you will have, those are the basic trainings that are mainly organized by SALTO. We organize on-arrival training, mid-term evaluation, and annual meeting of former ESC volunteers. Those are mandatory for volunteers who will stay in the hosting organization for a long-term project. That means for a project that will last more than 2 months. If a project lasts more than 2 months, it will be up to SALTO Euromed to organize those trainings. If those are short-term volunteering opportunities, it will be up to hosting organization to organize those trainings. So if it's a long-term volunteering opportunity, you will need to register them to the trainings that we will offer. But if this is a short-term volunteering opportunity, you will be in charge of organizing all the trainings. But still, you will just need to inform us that you have hosted some volunteers. On-arrival training, well, as the title tells everything, it's a training that is organized on their arrival. Midterm evaluation needs to take place at least 1 month before the departure of volunteers. And then when they come back to their countries. We organize annual meetings for former volunteers. That means that we gather them. The three options take place online. So we gather them online with other volunteers that have coming back to their countries, and basically they discuss their experience and they try to come up with the ideas on how can they improve their CVs, where to do next, and how can they be also maybe more useful in their local community. Yes, that's it.